Shalom. This is Rabbi David, Torah Wisdom Path, and today I want to share a simple 7-minute practice you can do right before sleep that can begin reshaping the way your mind relates to wealth, opportunity, and abundance while you rest. This is not empty motivation or fantasy thinking. It is a spiritual method inspired by ancient Jewish wisdom, a way to turn your sleeping hours into a powerful time of inner renewal and mental alignment. Before we begin, think honestly for a moment. What usually fills your mind in the final minutes before you fall asleep? Is it stress about money? Pressure from unfinished work? Regret from a conversation earlier in the day? Maybe anxiety about the future or frustration over things that did not go your way? Most people go to sleep carrying fear, worry, and mental noise into the night, without realizing those thoughts continue working inside them while they sleep. That is why this teaching matters so much. The moments before sleep are not ordinary moments. They are deeply spiritual and psychologically powerful. Ancient Jewish teachings explain that sleep is like a small taste of stepping outside the physical world. As the conscious mind quiets down, the deeper levels of the soul become more open and receptive. Your subconscious mind becomes impressionable, almost like soft soil ready to receive seeds. The problem is that most people unknowingly plant negative seeds every night. They replay failures, think about bills, focus on disappointment, and feed fear before closing their eyes. Then they wake up drained, discouraged, and emotionally heavy. They spend 8 hours strengthening the very thoughts they want to escape. But wise and spiritually aware people understand something different. They know that the final minutes before sleep can influence the direction of the next day. And when days change consistently, lives begin to change. For centuries, Jewish tradition included nighttime prayers and meditations known as the bedtime Shema. These practices were never meant to be empty rituals. They were designed to calm the soul, cleanse the heart, and align the mind with peace, purpose, and divine provision. Today, I want to give you a simple version of this principle focused on renewing your mindset around wealth and abundance. It is built around 3 steps: review, release, and reprogram. The entire process takes about 7 minutes, but the effect can reach far beyond those few minutes. Modern neuroscience actually supports what ancient wisdom taught long ago. Researchers have discovered that the mind becomes especially receptive during the transition between wakefulness and sleep. In that state, the barriers of the conscious mind begin to soften. Thoughts and emotions sink deeper into the subconscious, where beliefs and patterns are formed. This means the last emotional and mental impressions before sleep often continue influencing your inner world throughout the night. So instead of entering sleep with fear and mental clutter, you can intentionally prepare your spirit and mind. The first step is review. Spend a couple of quiet minutes reflecting on your day without judgment. Think about your actions, conversations, decisions, and emotions. Notice moments where you acted with wisdom, discipline, gratitude, or generosity. Also recognize where fear, anger, doubt, or negativity may have controlled you. The purpose is not self-condemnation, it is awareness. Honest reflection clears the mind and keeps the soul from carrying hidden emotional weight into sleep. The second step is release. This part is powerful. Let go of the anxiety, bitterness, pressure, and fear you collected during the day. Release resentment toward people who upset you. Release fear about finances. Release the need to control everything. In Jewish wisdom, peace enters where inner conflict leaves. You cannot rest deeply while gripping worry all night. Speak quietly to yourself if needed. I release today. I let go of fear. I trust that tomorrow carries new opportunities and new mercy. The goal is to empty the mind of emotional poison before sleep begins. The final step is reprogram. Once the mind is calm and open, begin feeding it truth-filled thoughts connected to abundance, purpose, discipline, and faith. This is not pretending money will magically appear overnight. It is training your inner world to stop operating from lack and hopelessness. Speak words that align with growth and possibility. Tell yourself that you are capable of learning, building, creating, and attracting opportunities. Remind yourself that wealth begins with mindset, wisdom, consistency, and belief. Picture yourself living with peace instead of panic. Imagine yourself making wise financial choices, building stability, helping others, and walking with confidence instead of fear. Do not rush through this part. Feel the emotions connected to the vision. Your subconscious responds more strongly to emotion than repetition alone. The goal is to fall asleep carrying peace, clarity, gratitude, and expectation into the night instead of anxiety and defeat. Many people underestimate what happens while they sleep, but your mind continues processing, organizing, and reinforcing patterns long after your eyes close. If you repeatedly end your nights with fear, your mind learns fear. If you repeatedly end your nights with faith, discipline, gratitude, and possibility, your inner world slowly begins changing direction. This practice will not instantly make someone wealthy overnight, but it can begin transforming the mental and emotional patterns that often keep people trapped in cycles of stress, scarcity, and self-sabotage. Over time, your decisions improve, your emotional state becomes calmer, your focus sharpens, and your confidence grows stronger. Remember this: the final thoughts you carry into sleep often become the emotional atmosphere you wake up with. Protect those moments carefully. They are more powerful than most people realize. 7 intentional minutes before bed can begin changing the way you think, feel, act, and ultimately live. As you begin drifting towards sleep, your brain naturally shifts into a different state. During the day, your mind operates in fast, active patterns connected to focus, problem-solving, and constant analysis. But right before sleep, those patterns slow down. Your brain becomes calmer, more open, more imaginative, and far more receptive to suggestion. In that state, the inner critic that constantly says, "That won't work," or "You're not capable," starts losing its grip. The doorway to the subconscious opens wider than most people realize. That is why the final moments before sleep matter so much. Everything you feed your mind during that window continues echoing through your subconscious while you rest. Advertisers understand this very well. Entire industries spend enormous amounts of money trying to capture your attention before bedtime because they know the human mind absorbs and stores information deeply during those moments. They are planting ideas, emotions, and desires into your mental soil. The real question is this: are you going to let the world plant thoughts in your mind, or are you going to intentionally choose what grows there? People who think clearly, build wealth wisely, and live with purpose are usually very protective of their mental atmosphere before bed. They avoid filling their minds with negativity late at night. They do not drown themselves in endless bad news, emotional arguments, or mindless scrolling. They understand that the thoughts they carry into sleep often shape the energy they wake up with the next morning. That brings us to the first part of this nightly practice, the review. Give yourself about 3 minutes for this. In Jewish wisdom, there's a practice called cheshbon hanefesh, which means taking an honest inventory of the soul. Many people only reflect deeply on their lives during major spiritual moments, but the ancient mystics taught that self-reflection should happen every night before sleep. But here is what makes this powerful. You are not reviewing your day to criticize yourself or replay your failures. You are training yourself to recognize the evidence of abundance that already exists around you. Most people are so focused on what they lack that they completely overlook what is already good in their lives. They miss opportunities, blessings, kindness, health, favor, and moments of provision because their attention has been conditioned toward scarcity. Ancient teachings describe divine abundance as something constantly flowing through life, even when people fail to notice it. The blessings are there, but they are often hidden beneath distraction, fear, stress, and negativity. Part of spiritual growth is learning to uncover those hidden moments and recognize them instead of ignoring them. Interestingly, modern neuroscience points to something similar through what is known as the reticular activating system. This part of the brain acts like a filter. It determines what gets your attention and what fades into the background. If you constantly focus on problems, your brain becomes trained to notice more problems. If you repeatedly focus on opportunities, gratitude, and abundance, your mind begins spotting those things more naturally. You start seeing what you trained yourself to look for. So every night, sit quietly and mentally walk back through your day like someone searching for hidden treasure. Look for every small sign of goodness, provision, progress, or favor. Maybe someone unexpectedly encouraged you. Maybe you enjoyed a peaceful meal. Maybe you received a payment, solved a problem, found a parking spot quickly, or had a meaningful conversation. Maybe your child hugged you. Maybe you laughed. Maybe you simply woke up healthy and alive this morning. Never underestimate the value of small blessings. Tiny moments still train the mind toward abundance. Challenge yourself to find at least 10 moments from your day that reflect goodness, provision, or gratitude. I once knew a man working in real estate who constantly described himself as financially stuck. He believed his life was empty of opportunity. When I gave him this exercise, he resisted it immediately. The first night, he could barely think of 3 positive moments. He felt frustrated and said the practice seemed pointless. But I told him to continue because his mind had been conditioned to overlook abundance for years. Night after night, he kept practicing. Slowly, the number of blessings he noticed began increasing. What started as 3 became 5, then 10, then 20. Eventually, he realized opportunities had been surrounding him all along. He noticed referrals he had ignored, clients he forgot to follow up with, relationships he neglected, and doors that had been quietly opening around him. His mindset shifted first, and then his results followed. Within weeks, his energy, confidence, and income changed dramatically. Nothing magical suddenly appeared out of nowhere. What changed was his perception. He stopped seeing himself as trapped in lack and started seeing possibilities everywhere. That inner transformation affected the decisions he made, the actions he took, and the way he carried himself. That is the true purpose of the review. You are retraining your mind to notice opportunities instead of limitations, gratitude instead of frustration, and provision instead of scarcity. A powerful habit you can add to this practice is keeping a journal beside your bed. After reflecting mentally, write down the 3 strongest moments of abundance from your day. Writing them down strengthens the effect because now you are not only thinking the thoughts, you are physically reinforcing them. Over time, you create a written collection of blessings and breakthroughs that reminds you how much goodness has already been present in your life. After the review comes the second step, release. This part takes about 2 minutes. Once you have acknowledged the good, you must let go of the emotional weight you were never meant to carry into sleep. Release the stress, fear, anger, pressure, and mental exhaustion from the day. Do not carry tomorrow's worries into tonight's rest. Let your mind become quiet. Let your spirit breathe again. You cannot carry the weight of the entire day into your sleep and expect your mind and body to recover. If you fall asleep holding fear, stress, shame, or anxiety, your subconscious keeps working on those emotions through the night. Instead of resting, your mind keeps replaying problems, deepening tension, worry, and emotional exhaustion. Over time, that state becomes part of your identity. You begin waking up already drained before the day even starts. King David wrote in the Psalms, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." He understood something many people miss. Real rest begins with surrender. Before sleep, you must learn how to release what is too heavy for you to carry. This is not only spiritual wisdom. Your body responds physically to the emotional state you bring into bed. When you sleep while stressed, your nervous system stays alert as if danger is still present. Stress hormones remain elevated, your breathing stays shallow, your heart continues racing, and your sleep becomes broken and restless. You may spend 8 hours in bed and still wake up exhausted because your body never truly relaxed. But when you intentionally let go of your burdens before sleep, something changes. Your nervous system shifts into a calmer state. Your breathing slows down. Your heartbeat softens. Your body begins repairing itself the way it was designed to. Your mind becomes quieter. Your immune system strengthens, and your sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. You wake up with clarity and energy instead of heaviness. So for about 2 minutes each night, practice releasing everything you are carrying. Close your eyes and imagine every stress, every fear, every financial pressure, every relationship issue, every disappointment, and every unanswered question as heavy stones packed into a backpack you have been dragging around all day. Feel the weight honestly. Do not deny it. Do not pretend you are unaffected. Acknowledge how tired you really are from carrying it all. Then picture yourself standing before God. Imagine a place filled with warmth, peace, and safety. Not judgment. Not condemnation. Imagine standing before a loving Father who already knows your struggles and wants to help you carry them. Now begin removing the stones one by one. Take out the fear about money. Place it down. Take out the stress about your future. Place it down. Take out the shame, anger, guilt, disappointment, or frustration. Lay each burden at His feet. You are not pretending the problems do not exist. You are choosing not to carry them alone for another night. In your heart, say something simple like, "God, this is too heavy for me right now. I trust you with it. I release it into your hands. As you continue this process, feel the backpack growing lighter. Feel your shoulders relaxing. Feel the pressure slowly leaving your chest. By the end, imagine yourself standing there free from the weight you walked in with. Calm, light, safe enough to rest. This is more than imagination. It is an intentional act of surrender. Instead of entering sleep controlled by fear and tension, you are entering sleep with trust and peace. I remember a season in my own life when everything felt like it was collapsing at once. Business problems were piling up, my marriage was struggling, and my father was battling cancer. Every day felt heavy, every night felt darker. During that season, this practice became my lifeline. Before walking into my house each evening, I would sit quietly in my car for a few minutes. I would release everything I had been carrying all day. The fear, the anger, the guilt, the panic. I would picture handing every burden over to God, one by one. And somehow, after those moments, I no longer walked into my home feeling crushed. I walked in lighter, more peaceful, more present. Even while life around me was chaotic, I began sleeping with calmness instead of panic. And every morning I woke up with enough strength to keep moving forward one more day. One night stands out clearly in my memory. I had just received a call from the bank threatening foreclosure on one of my properties. I was drowning in debt and felt completely trapped. Sitting there in my car, I wanted to explode with fear and frustration. Instead, I stopped and did this release practice again. I imagined that foreclosure notice as one more heavy stone in the backpack. In my mind, I placed it before God and said, "I honestly do not know how to solve this, but I trust you to guide me." The next morning, my mind felt different, clearer, calmer. A new solution came to me that I had not been able to see while panicking. I contacted the bank with a restructuring proposal, and unexpectedly they accepted it. The situation turned around. Maybe someone would call that a miracle. Maybe it was simply the result of finally stepping out of fear long enough for wisdom and creativity to emerge. Either way, the shift began the moment I stopped carrying everything alone. For 2 minutes every night, release your burdens before sleep. Let peace replace pressure. Then comes the final part of the practice, reprogramming the mind. At this point, you have already reflected on the good and released the emotional weight of the bad. Now your subconscious is open and ready. The soil has been prepared. This is the moment to plant something intentionally. Throughout Scripture, dreams and the night hours were often connected to wisdom, insight, and revelation. Joseph understood dreams deeply. Jacob received direction in dreams. Solomon encountered divine wisdom during sleep. The night has always been viewed as a sacred space where deeper understanding becomes accessible. Even scientifically, your subconscious mind continues working while you sleep. It processes experiences, searches for solutions, forms connections, and strengthens whatever patterns you repeatedly feed into it. The problem is that most people give their subconscious terrible instructions before bed. They fall asleep repeating thoughts like, "I'm failing," "Nothing will ever change," "I'll never escape this situation," or "My life is falling apart." And over time, the subconscious accepts those repeated messages as truth. But you are going to do the opposite. For the final 2 minutes before sleep, give your mind one clear vision of the future you want to create. Do not think about it as fantasy or wishful thinking. Experience it as though it already exists. If your goal is financial freedom, do not focus on unpaid bills. Picture yourself holding a statement that says, "Everything has been fully paid." Feel the relief in your chest. Feel the freedom and gratitude. If you desire success in business, do not focus on struggle. Imagine opening your account and seeing the goals you worked for finally reached. Picture happy customers, growth, progress, and celebration. If you desire love and companionship, do not replay loneliness. Imagine yourself sharing life with someone who genuinely loves you. See the joy. Feel the connection. Your subconscious responds strongly to emotion, imagery, and repetition. The more vividly you experience peace, gratitude, success, love, and abundance internally, the more your mind begins aligning your daily actions and awareness toward those realities. Feel the closeness. Feel the comfort. Feel the joy of already living inside the future you desire. Do not scatter your energy across 10 different dreams at once. Choose one vision that matters most in this season of your life. Make it specific. Make it real in your mind. And above all, connect emotionally to it, because the subconscious mind responds far more to feeling than to logic. You can make plans all day long, but your deeper mind listens to emotion. It listens to belief. It listens to the pictures you repeatedly impress upon it. As you hold that vision in your mind before sleep, begin repeating a simple statement that matches the future you want to experience. This is the seed you are planting into your subconscious. Say something like, "I am deeply grateful now that I am financially free," or "I am grateful that my business is thriving and overflowing with opportunity," or "I am grateful that I'm living in a loving and peaceful relationship." Notice the pattern. You speak as if it is already real. Not someday, not maybe, not I hope. You speak in the present tense with gratitude and certainty. That matters because your subconscious responds to what it believes you are already identifying with. Repeat the declaration slowly while feeling the emotions connected to it. Let those words become the final atmosphere in your mind before sleep takes over. You are giving your subconscious a direction to move toward during the night. While you sleep, your mind continues working beneath the surface, making connections, searching for solutions, and aligning your awareness with the vision you repeatedly feed it. I once worked with a woman, let's call her Rachel, who dreamed of writing a book but had been trapped in self-doubt and creative paralysis for years. Every night she fell asleep criticizing herself, repeating the same story in her mind: "I'll never finish this. I'm not talented enough. I'm failing." I taught her this nightly practice. Instead of focusing on failure, she began imagining herself holding the finished book in her hands. She pictured the cover. She imagined seeing her name printed on it. She could almost feel the texture of the pages and the excitement of finally completing what she started. Every night before sleep, she repeated, "I am grateful that I am now a published author." At first it felt completely fake to her. Her mind resisted it. Every negative belief fought back. But she stayed consistent. After about a week, something began changing. She started waking up with fresh ideas, chapter structures, and creative inspiration she had not experienced in years. Her subconscious was no longer working against her. It had started working with her. Within a few months, she completed the manuscript she had delayed for years. Not long after that, she received a publishing opportunity, and eventually her book reached bookstore shelves. She did not suddenly become a different person overnight. What changed was the inner conversation she carried into sleep every night. She stopped feeding failure into her mind and started feeding possibility. That is the heart of this 7-minute nightly ritual. 3 minutes reviewing the good, 2 minutes releasing the heavy, 2 minutes planting the future you want to experience. Here is the full practice again in simple form. First, spend 3 minutes reflecting on your day and searching for moments of abundance, gratitude, favor, and goodness. Train your mind to notice blessings instead of automatically focusing on what is missing. Write down at least 3 of those moments in a journal beside your bed. Next, spend 2 minutes releasing every burden you carried through the day. Visualize placing your worries, fears, frustrations, and pressures into God's hands. Let yourself enter sleep with trust instead of tension. Finally, spend 2 minutes reprogramming your subconscious with one clear vision of the future you desire. See it as already complete. Feel the emotions connected to it. Repeat your declaration slowly and intentionally as you drift off to sleep. Do this every night for 30 days without skipping. This is not some magic shortcut. It is a daily discipline that reshapes your inner world over time. Just like physical hygiene keeps the body clean, mental and spiritual hygiene keep the mind clear and aligned.